Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great weekend. Taking a quick look here again at Bitcoin. Apologize for the video quality here. I am traveling, of course, and my recording software is a little on the fritz, so I had to kind of make do with an audible here. But what we're going to look at is really quick, of course, some back-end liquidation data. If you're new to the channel, thanks again so much for watching. Hope you can learn something here today. And again, if you want to become a better trader, check out the comments down below. CryptoCache.tech is a site. And what we want to look at here, first of all, with Bitcoin is some important stuff here. We've got a lot of liquidation on the downside here left remaining. There's a lot of new longs coming in, or just around the 64, 65K range. Keep in mind, they're not entering at that level. Obviously, they have long positions that'll either be liquidated or they choose to close at that area, essentially. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Heavy concentration between 64,500 and 65K. So is there a probability of the price going down lower? Definitely, yeah. In fact, just from the bird's eye view, this is more incentive for the whales to push the price action down if we can't get past 67,000 anytime soon. So just keep in mind, there's a distinct probability we're going to see this as a reality here for that lower, at the very least 64,000. I would say it seems like a probability at this point. Again, we had a double bottom here recently that was supposed to play out, but it didn't. In fact, that sent a lot of our current open trades into the wrong direction, right? So when it comes to stuff like that, you want to presume the price is going to continue until it doesn't. What I mean by that here is we have a lot of bearish divergences, and there's no reason why the price will reverse action until it starts proving itself. And right now, we don't have anything here kind of showing that it wants to. Again, we had this double bottom here that was performing pretty well until, of course, the bottom dropped out. Now that previous support is the new resistance, roughly here at about 66,500. We'll narrow that down here in a minute, but generally speaking here, that's roughly what we're looking at in the overall sense of things. So now that we understand the foundation of more volume below the price action, more incentive for the whales to destroy more people's lives, we can kind of see here on the daily time frame, we haven't broken free from this descending trend. Now again, I know this descending trend is kind of, it's only based on one candle wick. We could tighten it up a little bit with some smaller trend lines, but the general consensus here is that we're still below the 20-day SMA. Oftentimes these trend lines run concurrent with those SMA lines. The 20 more specifically is that initial trend setter. So now that we're below the 20 and we haven't broken back up above, which we got a false positive 2 days ago when the Fed meeting resulted positively, at least more so neutral is positive, right? The price action pulled back for very little reason. We had a lot of bullish convergence at that time, and the price just dropped out of nowhere. Okay, so again, apologies to anybody watching that whomever who took some trades that with me, of course. It doesn't work out the way that it's supposed to all the time, right, folks? Again, I know I have a pretty good track record and I've had a lot of successful trades in the day, but I have my beats too. So just want you to know it's very normal, very regular for people to have little streaks here and there. And unfortunately, I felt very confident going into that, and the Fed meeting proved us wrong. So again, the last 3 Fed meetings, we've been able to trade fairly well into them, and unfortunately, this time it didn't work out so hot. So generally, at this point, what we want to talk about though on the daily, enough about that, is just to clarify that we're testing the 50-day SMA right now. So breaking below that would be absolutely bearish. I think that'll keep us underneath that support level for a while. Keep in mind, I had the support level here for more recent lows at 66,400. That's the new high for the moment. So we want to see where we close here soon. Keep in mind, this is a weekend. I wouldn't trust too much about what you see just in the last 24 hours. We want to take previous data and use that. At this point, everything's screaming bearish divergence, right? We have no reason to consider a long position right now at this moment until we, at the very least, break back up over the 50-day SMA here, or at least 50 on the RSI. While we are above the 50 SMA, the 20 is probably the more important one. So me personally, I think closure above 67,000 would really let us know that we're back on track. For right now, I don't really trust it all that much. In other words, we should be able to we should experience price continue further down, right? We look at the 4-hour time frame, we can see a lot of reasons why the price action is likely going to continue lower. Now again, it's staircased its way down a few times, pretty consistently too. This is really unfortunate, but you look at these large candles here. This is really just pretty much one market mover just pushing the price action whichever way they see fit, right? Again, that takes a lot of volume to do that, but people with billions of dollars can do that, right? So unfortunately, whoever wants to control the price of Bitcoin right now is doing that. And until that changes, we can't do much about it because we're underneath all moving averages. And at this point here, even looking at the 4-hour time frame, which should be transitioning to a bullish convergence here, is mostly just plateauing and showing us that we have no consideration for a long. Stochastic swinging up here, and with the price not going any further, that leads me to believe we have strong resistance at the current price point, which at this area, that's the previous support at 66,300. That's turned into a resistance level. It's almost like a line in the sand here, if you can kind of see. Previous support turned resistance, okay? So now we can pretty much presume the price is going to continue lower at this point. Again, with this being a weekend, I would maybe urge caution and being maybe a little more patient, waiting till Monday. But generally speaking, if you're going to insist on trading here today, there's a lot of divergences, a lot of reasons why it's likely not going to continue. We do have a MACD convergence here, of course, but you got to keep in mind that convergence is simply based on that knee-jerk reaction for the price action to come right back to where it came from. So at this point, this is not really a reason to want to take a long position. The good news is we do have an ABC pattern likely to have fulfilled itself, likely to find its bottom by now. But again, that continues to find its bottom as it continues to go lower. So truth is that doesn't tell us too much. It just lets us understand that on the shorter term time frames, we have seen our our Elliott wave play out and is much lower than it should have went, truthfully, just based on the simple fact that there's a lot of selling pressure. So take a look at the hourly. Quickly to note here, we're still below the Ichimoku cloud. Conversion lines below the base. Sorry, within the no. That lagging span is free and clear of the price action and just intersected there recently. So with that having intersecting there, it's no longer free and clear. Really just telling us here that there's no position to be taken for a short. In other words, the window of opportunity for taking a short right now is closed. And what that means for us, though, just in the big picture, is that we're transitioning on the hourly from potential bearish divergence to a bullish convergence. We don't have that yet because we're still under the cloud and we're still rejecting out at this resistance at 66,300. But just say, for example, we have a closure above, 66.5 on Monday. That could be a consideration to take a long, at the very least, a small long position that you hold fairly tight. In other words, taking a long, swing trade to 75,000 right now really isn't in the cards for the moment. We got to wait for a confirmation, getting above this descending trend line for starters. So we're a long ways away from getting confirmation, but for right now, I can tell you that we're confirming it's best not to consider shorting at this exact moment, considering the fact that we got the lagging span within the price action and we're testing that lower lead on the cloud. So for the most part, though, everything we've seen here is pretty divergent and very bearish. So to me at this point, it seems likely we're going to see the price continue lower from Bitcoin. It's just a matter of how much higher up it can go before it pulls back again. We have our previous support at 67,000. That's a new resistance. We have to recognize that. And tentatively for the moment, 66,300 is the new resistance. So again, potentially we have the price action come up here. 67,000 would be an ideal place to consider a short because we'd still be below this longer term trend line and below a series of moving averages too. So again, I'm leaning more towards shorting Bitcoin, but I think right now at this exact moment it seems a little premature. Again, that's just me personally based on everything we've seen here so far, but there's no doubt that Bitcoin is looking very, very bearish. And the potential reality here of seeing anything in the low 60 to mid 60,000 range seems very probable at this point. So that's kind of where we're at there. It is what it is. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the way that it goes. And it's all right. Opportunity to maybe dollar cost average. We get closer to that $60,000 mark. I have a few limit orders down in that area just to be safe. But right now, we expect the price to continue lower until it doesn't. That's really the bottom line. Okay. So again, at this point, recommend no trade is a good trade for the moment. We'll see how Monday comes around, or Sunday night at midnight. Not necessarily midnight, but Sunday evening, we do see the Asian market open up, and they take the direction of whichever way they want at that point. And we'll see on Monday morning how that works out. Either way, I do appreciate you watching. Thank you so much again. I look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.